But what she's saying is that the technology changes from time to time, and also the strategy of the dealership and the manufacturers change from time to time. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Today I will share with you a follow-up video of a previous episode I did entitled Toyota Dealership Goes Directly to High School. This is the video format I found of that article I shared earlier on, and we have the the general manager, in fact, goes in detail as to why she did what she did. And this is something that I've been saying ever since I started this channel. Now, for my podcast listeners, I would advise for you to come on over to YouTube so you can see the full video and share with us your thoughts on this subject. Thank you again for joining me, and let's get right into this.
A strong service department is key to any successful dealership. Well-trained technicians can increase customer retention and profits for a dealership.
You can have a great front end, but if you're not taking care of them on the back end, you're not getting them back. You're spending that much more money trying to earn new customers. You're spending that much more money in advertising. Why not just do it right in the first place? That was when I learned, that was about 10, 11 years ago. That was when I learned about the technician shortage.
That's Julie Herrera, dealer principal at Toyota of Cedar Park. To combat the technician shortage, she decided to outsource technician training to local high schools to great success. Depending on the school, students are either trained during automotive tech classes or come to the dealership to train.
So basically what she said earlier on, do it right the first time, and that is one of the core principles in learning how to do things the Toyota way. Now, the title of this video says, after hearing about the technician shortage, Julie Herrera, dealer principal at Toyota of Cedar Park, decided to turn to nearby high school students for help. The dealership is training students to be technicians, and a future job offer is also a great possibility. Let's continue.
Either way, they are set on a path to a career in the industry.
And I thought every meeting I'd go to, every dealer council meeting, every NADA, TADA meeting, that was the topic everybody's talking about, that we can't get technicians, we can't get technicians. Well, I thought, well, bottom line is that's our job. That's a dealer's job. So what do we have to do? Well, we've got to grow technicians. So when we opened the point 6-7 months prior to opening, I was already going into the local high schools.
You know, taking the initiative, taking responsibility, grabbing that problem head on and do with it. And this is what great leadership does. They take the initiative, they set the vision, they understand what the mission is, and in order to pursue and achieve that strategic vision that is set out by the dealer principal themselves on a part, and then that information is set down to the general manager, letting them know exactly where they want to position the dealership in the very near future. Someone has to take action.
We did our homework. We found Rouse High School, which is a couple of miles from the dealership, and we made a friendship with the CTE instructor there as well as the principal, and we've been supporting that program.
But why start with high school students? They're a clean slate, according to Herrera.
Well, I think that's where you can influence the high schooler. You don't have a technician that's not willing to go with your culture. For example, right now with the technicians we have coming in, we do a multi-point video on every car every time for our customers to have. The younger these technicians are, the more eager they are to try new technology, the more eager they are to learn. So if you start them in the high school program, and I was real impressed because they start them in a sophomore level. By the time they're a senior and graduating and coming to work for us, they've got all the basics down. They've actually taken their basics ASEs exams, which our store pays for them. So we're doing a lot of that. I just think they're more open-minded. They're very tech savvy. And with all the computers and all these cars, this is STEM learning.
Herrera says these students are unpaid interns, but that doesn't stop them from being dedicated to the job. They're detail-oriented and tech-minded. The fact that they're willing to dedicate time for free shows that they will be even more dedicated.
Detail-oriented, that is also another strategy used in management terms, of course. So these phrases are always used to determine exactly what the best fit job personality traits lie in terms of how they can get their job done in the most efficient and effective ways possible. And this is something also that recruiters look into when they're going through the hiring process for individuals. But as she says, they decided to go younger because some of the older technicians, they're set in their ways. Okay, and that's no fault of them. If they found a way to get things done their way and it makes it easy and it's far more comfortable, then you can't necessarily blame them. But what she's saying is that the technology changes from time to time, and also the strategy of the dealership and the manufacturers change from time to time. So they're always looking for innovative ways to move forward. Plus, we're in a very technologically advanced situation right now where the vehicles are concerned. So as things change, they want someone with the particular mindset to go along with that paradigm shift.
When this becomes their career. 26 out of her 71 technicians have gone through their technician training program. So how has this program impacted Toyota of Cedar Park's fixed ops revenue? Here's what Herrera had to say.
Well, the technicians we're bringing in from the high schools are going to be your traditional maintenance technicians. So let me just give you an idea. Before we started the program, we were selling probably somewhere around 300 alignments a month. Last month, I sold 800 alignments. Okay, so just incredible. Toyota Care Services were bringing in $30,000, $40,000 a month in gross. We're up over $80,000. So you're going to see that. Now, is there expense to it? Yes. Are you going to have some unapplied time? Absolutely. But you have to remember that technician is taking care of your customer that's going to continue to come to you at 30,000 miles, 35, 40, 50. That's when you're going to make a little bit more money. Every dealer knows that. So they are in the express lube type of positions. They're going to do some light maintenance. They're going to do some alignment work. They're going to sell, the filters and wiper blades, things of this nature, tire rotations. But they'll recommend some services for your level 2 and level 3 technicians. So you're picking up dollars that way also.
So the thing is, let me add again, is that they understand the concept of after sales, fixed operation sales, as much as a lot of people don't want to talk about it rather, because the North American culture is just sales, leasing, financing. At the same time, if you can build a loyal customer base and grow that UIO, which is a total units in operation in a specific geographical location where your dealership is situated, then you'll have a better grasp of the market and improve your market share as you go along. However, you cannot do that without the qualified staff and the skilled technicians, mechanics needed in order to have that vision. And this dealership is actually utilizing their staff, their mechanics, their technicians, so to speak, in order to achieve the vision and the growth of this dealership. That's basically where they want to go. Also, if I may add, that one of the things a lot of dealerships don't concentrate on is increasing that absorption rate.
Dealers who want to start a similar program, just go ahead and do it.
If you're struggling with getting enough technicians for your shop, take the time to sit down with your team in your fixed operations department and have them reach out to the local high schools and just get serious about it. It might cost you $2,000 to $5,000 a year in support or scholarships. It might cost you a little money to send them some parts, to go visit them a little bit of time. But I promise you, if you take this initiative, not enough dealers are doing it, and the schools want it and need it. And more importantly, the kids need it and you need it. Don't wait for the manufacturers to do this for you. They're not going to do it. Anything we've done as dealers, we go out and do. So I think we follow the same process there and just make it happen.
And the thing is, to add, is that especially now in these times where the crunch is on and people may be holding back in terms of purchasing that new car, maintaining the current car is also paramount, because you will need those technicians, you will need your parts personnel, you will need innovative ways to maintain that supply chain coming in order for the garage to sustain the business. And that is where increasing the absorption rate comes in, because when vehicle sales are down, parts and service is what keeps the lights on in any dealerships. And this is something that I try to emphasize to general managers, dealer principals, managing directors as we go forward. But I am happy that we are now in a position that other North American dealerships are beginning to see the light and know exactly what is happening outside of our sphere here in North America, which to me it's its own bubble. But that's enough from me. Let me know what you think. Again, thank you for tuning in, and remember, smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Let's get the conversation going, and remember to grab a copy of my book, The Parts Manager Guide. I'll see you in the next video.